Good afternoon, and welcome everyone to the Active Transportation and Traffic Safety Advisory Committee meeting. I would like to welcome those in attendance and staff and committee members. I would like to call the meeting to order. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, may I have approval of the agenda for the July 20th meeting? Moved by Councillor Reid, seconded by Mayor Harrison. All those in favor, and carried. May I have approval of the minutes of the March 2nd, 2026 Active Transportation and Safety Advisory Committee meeting? Moved by Councillor Armstrong, seconded by Councillor Quinte. Are there any questions or comments regarding the minutes? All in favor, and carried. There are no delegations or presentations this afternoon, so we will move into into public input. So with public input, we would ask anyone who would like to come to the podium to give your name and address, and just as a matter of process, public input, you're allowed to speak no more than 3 minutes. So 3 minutes is the guideline, and we are here to listen. It's not a Q&A as would be a delegation, but we're happy that you're here. And I would like to call the first member or anyone who would like to come. There's no particular order. Oh my goodness, now we're going to change that right away. There we have Councillor McHugh. Welcome, Councillor McHugh.
Madam Chairperson, members of the committee, staff, thank you for introducing me. It saved me a little bit of time here. I'm just here today on behalf of a petition that you have here put in by Jim Fetter and 100% of the residents at the Murray-Harrington Road requesting a speed reduction of 10 kilometers from 60, to 50, a reduction of just 10 kilometers. I drive that road myself many a time, and if there's ever a road in Murray Township needs a reduction, that is it, to be honest with you. So that's all I want to say. I'm just here in support. Mr. Fetter be here himself, but he's otherwise detained and couldn't be here, so I said I'd just come speak on his behalf. Hopefully you'll find merit in it, send it forward, and with any kind of luck, we'll get a reduction down the road. So again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councillor McHugh, and I see you've taken Councillor Kunte's role and wore your summer Hawaiian shirt. Wonderful. It's a new uniform. I'm not sure, I just can't pick. So thank you very much, and that's wonderful. So the next member, thank you.
Hi, my name is Megan. I've never done anything like this before. I have been a resident in Trenton for just over 2 years. I've been in healthcare for 15 years, and I've noticed a huge gap in safety for transportation as well as individuals. Down by 195 Bay Street, there's the Canadian Tire. There is no sidewalk, and there are stop signs that are not being followed as there is a curve in the roadway. I've witnessed myself many times working in the area of almost collisions, as there's nowhere for pedestrians to walk safely. I've also brought in some pictures from Google Earth just to show that there is a lot of trees in the way, so that even if a pedestrian wanted to turn the corner on the side on the road, a car could easily be there as well. I work at Trent Valley Lodge Nursing Home, and I have a lot of individual residents that enjoy shopping and going to the mall there area, who find it quite unsafe because there is no sidewalk for them to go to, and vehicles are having to go around them, and there's a lot of yelling, and I've witnessed a few times where there's almost been collisions between vehicles trying to avoid pedestrians, whether either in wheelchairs walking or just walking in general. So I have also brought in a letter from one of my residents dictating her experience personally with having to go in that area with no safety measures put in place for her, as well as many more Google Map showing that there is no safe measures for either pedestrians or people that are walking in that area.
Well, thank you very much, Megan. You did a lovely presentation. I would ask if you give your correspondence to Sarah Pond, and I would also advise all that we do take the notes of the of the public members, and your name and address, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I wish I could stay for the rest, but I didn't even know these things existed or how they existed, so I have an appointment to go to, but I will be more involved.
Well,
going
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is LaShawna Flint, and I'm just up on Leicester Road in Quinte West. And I brought a little summary that I gave over there, but I brought a little speech because I'll go past 3 minutes, so I'll just read this and hopefully stay on track. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this afternoon. I'm here to ask Council to begin the process of evaluating whistle cessation at the Hamilton Road and Leicester Road railway crossings. I want to be clear that I'm not asking train engineers to ignore federal safety regulations, nor am I asking the railway to compromise public safety. I understand that train horns serve an important purpose under the Canadian rail operating rules. Engineers are required to sound their horns when approaching public crossings unless those crossings have been approved for whistle cessation. Those rules exist to protect drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, emergency responders, and anyone who may be near the tracks. Safety must remain the priority. However, Transport Canada has established a process that allows municipalities and railway companies to work together to eliminate routine train whistles at crossings that meet specific safety requirements. This is not a new or unusual request. It is an existing federal process designed to balance public safety with the quality of life of nearby residents. In fact, Quinte West has already demonstrated that this process can work. Council previously supported whistle cessation at 2nd Dughill Road crossing after completing the required assessments and working with the railway. That decision shows that when a crossing can safely meet the required standards, whistle cessation is a realistic option. My request is simply that Hamilton Road and Leicester Road receive the same consideration. If these crossings already meet the federal requirements, I respectfully ask Council to begin the whistle cessation process. If they do not, I ask that the Council determine what improvements would be necessary to meet those standards and whether those improvements are feasible. I believe residents deserve to understand what options exist rather than assuming whistle cessation is impossible. Train horns are undeniably effective safety tools, but they also have a significant impact on surrounding neighborhoods. Many residents are awakened several times each night, affecting sleep, stress levels, and overall quality of life. For families with young children, shift workers, seniors, and others who are particularly sensitive to nighttime noise, this issue extends well beyond inconvenience. I understand that there may be concerns about liability and public safety. I share those concerns. That is exactly why I'm asking the Council to follow the established Transport Canada process rather than seeking an expectation to do it. If an engineering assessment concludes that whistle cessation cannot be achieved safely, then the whistles should absolutely remain. But if the crossings can be upgraded or already meet the necessary requirements, then I believe our community deserves the opportunity to benefit from the same consideration that has been given elsewhere in Quinte West. With that in mind, I respectfully ask Council to considering the following. Has Hamilton Road or Leicester Road ever undergone a formal whistle cessation assessment? If so, what deficiencies were identified? If not, would Council be willing to initiate that assessment in partnership with CN and Transport Canada? If upgrades are required, what would they be and what would the estimated cost be? These are practical questions that deserve clear answers. My goal today is not simply to ask that train whistles stop. My goal is to ask that Council begin a transparent, evidence-based evaluation of whether whistle cessation is possible at these crossings while maintaining the highest level of public safety. I appreciate the work that the Council does on behalf of our community, and I thank you for your time and consideration. I hope you will give Hamilton Road and Leicester Road the same thoughtful evaluation that has already been given to other crossings within Quinte West. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and I know you have given the correspondence to staff. Thank you very much. Next, please.
Council, my name is Dave Hurd. I'm a resident on 561 Murray Harrington Road, and my partner, Monica Reed. And we're here in support of the petition to reduce the speed limit on that road. We have numerous driveways that do not have clear sight lines because of the curves in the road and the hills in the road. Also, the width of the roadway is quite narrow at various locations. And we've had numerous close calls, and there have been some actual accidents. And there really is no reason for traffic to race through there. So most of us are residents in not a heavily traveled through road anyway. So I would ask for your consideration in that matter. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to come to the podium? Any more public input? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you. So we have correspondence from resident Ellie Samini requesting prohibited parking on one side of Stonecrest Boulevard and Ledge Rock Crescent. And let's see here. Do we have a motion, please, to receive the correspondence?
Sure.
Moved by Councillor Quinte, seconded by Councillor Armstrong. Questions or comments?
I'm guessing Ally's not here.
No. So we're just receiving this. We're just receiving it, correct? Yes. So all in favor to receive? And approved. Next correspondence from Natasha Ugalulu regarding crosswalk and school traffic zone Dufferin Avenue. This was supplementary. And a resolution that the printed correspondence item 7AB for the committee's information be received and filed. Oh, sorry, just B, because I already did A. So may I have a mover for that, please? Moved by Mayor Harrison, seconded by Committee Member Allen. Questions or comments? Member Warham.
I think since this is related to my notice of motion, I'll probably be discussing that letter at that time.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Very good. So all in favor of this at this time, and we'll deal with it later. Approved. So we'll now move to, and I should have advised that we did have one addition to the agenda under correspondence that we received related to the Ward 3, and it's all been handed out there regarding bylaw 15114. So should we deal with that now, Sarah? Okay. So that's the addition that we received today. And so we have a recommendation here, basically, I guess, also to receive this correspondence.
That's correct.
Thank you. May I have a seconder or mover to receive? Moved by Member Allen, seconder. Mayor Harrison. Questions or comments regarding this correspondence? Councillor Quinte.
So is staff going to do an update or a report on these types of vehicles?
That's the motion.
We
I
could.
thought it was received.
We could change it to recommend a staff report, which would come when the new council is in place.
Yes.
If that would be your request.
Yeah,
Would you like that?
yeah.
Okay, well, we will move.
Because things have changed a lot in the last 15, 20 years with these vehicles. And I'd like to hear from the OPP what they think.
So at this point, I have a mover and a seconder to receive, so we should vote to turn that down or accept, and then we'll move to your motion. So receive. Okay, 2. So it's denied, so now we're going to go with a motion from Councillor Quinte, please.
Yeah, I'd just like to change the motion that we request a staff report on, based on this letter involving utility vehicles, because there have been a number of changes to these styles of vehicles over the past 15, 20 years, and these side-by-side units are certainly very popular. I see them all the time. So I'd like to hear what the OPP have to say and what staff have to say in regards to these vehicles on our roads. Thanks.
A seconder for this motion.
Asking for a report, yes.
Yes, okay, seconded by Mayor Harrison. Any further questions or comments regarding the motion? All in favor? Carried. Okay. So that ends correspondence. So we're now moving to our action reports for consideration. Number 1, this report is from Mr. Robert Jackson, Manager of Engineering Services, regarding Austin Street traffic data. The resolution or the recommendation from the staff report is that the Active Transportation and Safety Advisory Committee receive staff report 26008 PWES from Robert Jackson, Manager of Engineering Services, regarding Austin Street traffic data for information. May I have a mover for this? Moved by Counselor Reed, seconder.
I'll second it.
Counselor Quinte. Questions or comments regarding the staff report? Member Warham.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the report and the data that was provided. I think one of the points that was made in the report was that the data indicated that that the street was safe for all users. I kind of tend to disagree based on the data that I'm seeing. So just looking at the data, it shows that there's like a high volume of traffic at a low speed. To me, that indicates that there are a lot of vehicles captured that are not moving at speed. So on a street like this, we're probably seeing a lot of delivery vehicles pulling in and out of driveways, which tends to show that, like maybe incorrectly, that the speeds on this street are not fully reflected in the data, and also where on the street is the data being collected. So if it's being collected at the midpoint of the street, that might not indicate that the vehicles are traveling at the top speed. And I also think that the speeds are not necessarily a reflection of the safety of the street. So even if vehicles are traveling below 50 kilometers an hour on a street with no sidewalks, it's a dynamic street that has changed quite a bit. One of the questions that was asked at that when it was initially brought up in the March meeting was this subdivision that's next to the street was built 50 years ago. What's changed? So from my perspective, what's changed is that, first of all, we have a policy that people can refer to, a committee like this that people can come to, and I think generally attitudes have changed around walking. People want to be able to walk, use the street for different dynamic uses besides driving. Also, Trent River School, which is neighboring this area, is a consolidation of 3 previous schools. So there's a lot more foot traffic, a lot more vehicle traffic also, because a lot of kids are driven to school. So both Austin and neighboring Gould Street are passageway streets that connect for students walking. They will walk down the street to get to that trail, that pathway that connects multiple neighborhoods to Trent River School. So they're walking down the street where there's no sidewalks. The other thing that's probably changed a little bit, sorry, that's probably it. So, the one of the recommendations that I made was speed humps, and that was rejected. But I would also say that it was pointed to Montrose as a reason why not to do it here. So Austin Street is about 210 meters. We looked at Montrose and said, Montrose, we're doing them every 200 meters. But there's a specific reason for that, because doing them closer together at Montrose would raise the cost significantly because it's a much longer street. And the other thing that happens on Montrose is that there's a lot of traffic. So as traffic is moving over these speed humps and reducing speed, it's reducing the whole speed, as opposed to Austin, which has a low traffic volume. So basically, the whole street becomes like a potential drag because it is 200 meters of unobstructed street that people can drive fast on because there's no other traffic to prevent them from doing so. So I don't agree with the recommendation to do nothing on the street.
Any other comments regarding the recommendation to receive at this point? Councillor Quinte.
Thanks. Perhaps we could ask staff to investigate a sidewalk then. Because I know this street, like I don't drive on it every day, but you know, a couple times a month type of thing, because my daughter and grandson live in the neighborhood, so this is the street I use to get to their place. They live just off of Barbara Street, and I mean, anytime I've been there, I haven't seen any incidents whatsoever, but I'm not against adding a sidewalk for pedestrian use. So we could ask staff to come back to us with the cost of adding a sidewalk down the length of the street so that the pedestrians can access that path to the school.
I'll go to Mr. Warham, and then I'll go to staff.
I think Mr. McClellan.
Oh, sorry, I missed you. Yes, Mr. McClellan.
So I grew up in this neighborhood. I know it very well. I can't think of the 3 schools you're talking that were closed. I know College Street School was closed while I was at Queen Elizabeth, but I can't think of the others. But this is a short residential street. The numbers clearly show there's not an issue here. If we're gonna look at traffic calming measures for a street like this, I propose you're gonna get requests from the entire city, because they would all qualify if this qualifies, in my opinion, and I disagree with that.
I'll go to Councillor Katsoulis, and then we'll come back to you. Councillor Katsoulis.
I echo Member McClellan's comments. I was going to suggest the same thing. Every street's going to want a sidewalk, and if staff's already made the effort and provided this report, I see no point in taking up more of their time making another report. If you look past the speed limit, which they've already provided us, the different over and under, an important fact also to consider is that in the last 5 years, there were 2 accidents. So they provided that. It's not that they're happening every month. It's not even one every other year. So I'm comfortable with staff's report, and I would receive this as information.
Member Warren.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily support, I don't have a problem with a sidewalk, but the cost of a sidewalk versus a single row of speed humps is significantly different, much more. So this is, again, this is a trial. This is like, we don't specifically have an implementation policy on the distance for speed humps in Quinte West. But if we look at the policies of neighboring municipalities, in Ontario, they are generally 75 to 150 meters. So a single row of speed humps on this street is not cost prohibitive and would fit in with that type of alignment. As far as the idea that this will incite other residential areas to ask for a speed hump, okay, we can address that when it happens. But the other thing is that this is a very specific neighborhood that would benefit from a speed hump because it is a single deployment with a neighboring private development that you already utilizes speed humps. And we are using speed humps now. The city has used them now on trips since we had this discussion in March for construction detour. And the authority that is responsible for roads on the base is using them as well. And I've talked to people there that live on those streets, and they are extremely positive about them. And those are single deployments that make a big difference in how people feel on their street. And that's important. It's not just about safety. In fact, if we look at our policy, under implementation, it uses the word safe, safer, and safety one time each. And it's basically to say, don't use those words because this isn't about safety. This is about people feeling comfortable. So if someone who has lived there for 50 years is telling us that they and others do not feel comfortable on the street, a single implementation of a traffic calming measure can make a change that will make people feel more comfortable and make people feel more comfortable using that street. It's not necessarily just about safety. No, the speeds aren't high enough to say that the street isn't safe. That's probably true. But there is an issue that's making people feel uncomfortable. Thanks.
You're welcome. So we have a motion on the floor to receive the staff report as information. We have a mover and a seconder. Yes, Councillor.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I think you were going to talk to staff for comment at one point.
No, actually, I wasn't going to now.
So I'd like to comment then.
Okay.
So with regards to the speed humps, it is on. Yeah, so with regards to the speed humps, and we have had the trial so far, and I looked to staff to just confirm this. We've already had the trials in a couple of different areas, including Montrose, and that is the reason that we have further on our agenda an amendment to the policy, which says what the process will be in order to bring this forward. which involves somebody bringing, a citizen making a request, but also having a petition of the neighborhood, which would require 85% of the people in the area signing it. So I would recommend that we would receive this particular report, and that if the resident wants to come forward and go through the policy, if it is adopted later in the agenda, that would be the process.
Thank you, Councillor Stedall. That's absolutely very, very helpful, and you're right, that we've changed the policy if this gets approved tonight for anything traffic calming, so thank you for that. Do the staff have anything further to add? Member Tracy, or Director, or whatever, Tracy.
Yeah.
Director.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, no, just further that, I understand that the traffic calming, it's, we've done a trial, and the next report's going to talk about adding some kind of policy around it. I understand, you know, adding measures seems like a good thing to do, but we need to have some policy around that. We did add as staff a traffic calming measure on Trip Boulevard, but you know, generally speaking, we felt that was the right thing to do due to us creating the detour route and so on, but equally there are other people questioning why we did that and not having adequate data to support it. So I think having a policy in place will definitely help staff and council navigating this going forward.
Oh, yes.
One more
Yes.
item.
Councillor.
Sorry, meant to mention as well. So with putting in these speed humps as well, traffic calming measures, there's additional costs that needs to be taken a look at in the budget. So if we end up putting the policy in place and we do get a number of requests, of course, for us to follow through with it, we need to have some kind of budget. So that needs to be considered as well. So having the one-offs, I think, even I believe I heard even on Montrose that there was a number of signs that were traffic calming measures that were taken out, and that became cost prohibitive. So we will have to deal with money at some point in time if we do decide to implement.
I think what we'll do is we'll call the vote now, because we're dealing with traffic calming measures report on the next item, and we can talk about, just to your point, Councillor Stedall, the budget and so forth. So if there's nothing further to Austin Street receive, if we could call that vote, and then if there's other motions, we'll go from there, and then we'll move to traffic calming. Okay? All in favor of the motion to receive this report? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is carried. Okay? And I do apologize, Director Tracy, for not addressing you properly. So we now will move to this traffic calming policy update report. And I will have Mr. Jackson do just a highlight of this. It's quite an extensive report. I will call the motion to put it on the floor, and then I will ask for questions or comments. But I will go to Mr. Jackson right after the motion's on the floor. So as requested, this was a report to deal with traffic calming alongside speeding and so forth. So staff report 26009 PWES from Robert Jackson, Manager of Engineering Services, regarding traffic calming policy update. Resolution that the Active Transportation and Traffic Safety Advisory Committee receive staff report 26009 PWES, traffic calming measures update for information, and that the committee adopt the revised policy as attached. May I have a mover for the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Stedall, seconded by Councillor Reid. I will now go to Mr. Jackson and for some highlights of this extensive report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So we understood from the last meeting that we had no formal framework for establishing traffic calming measures, and but we did have a pretty robust system for looking at speed limits and speed limit reductions. So the attempt was to incorporate traffic calming into the same policy framework that speed limits would be reviewed, because there's a lot of overlap. So kind of the highlights would be that for traffic calming, as per speed limit reductions, we would be looking for a petition from 85% of residents on that street that there is an issue. Looking at this, the the petition is important because to other comments, there is a social engineering aspect to everything we do. It can affect, the daily commutes of residents on the street for the positive or the negative. So implementing traffic calming, just like speed limit reductions, in a place where they shouldn't be can have negative impacts on the residents' perceptions, especially if they're not needed or like not seen as being necessary. Just like we know that if the speed limits are artificially low, people will speed anyways. Reducing the speed limit does not necessarily always mean people are driving slower. So with that social engineering aspect to this framework, the traffic calming was incorporated into the policy. The petition, I apologize, was incorporated into the policy of an 85%. Likewise, that petition would be brought back to this committee where it would be deemed acceptable, and provided that that petition is accepted by this committee, that would then give the OPP and engineering the authorization to review the street. We would look at, with the OPP, they would be considering, sorry, Counselor. Okay. The OPP would be looking at crashes, their speeding data, and then engineering would be looking at where is a safe place to put traffic calming, which traffic calming measures would be applicable to this street. We utilize engineering codes like the Ontario Traffic Manual as well as TAC, the Transportation Association of Canada, to come up with these recommendations. And then a report would be brought back to this committee in the fall for adoption for recommendation to install traffic calming on that street. And then that report could also include budget. So if it has a budget item required, that could go to council for the following year's budget for installation. That's kind of a Coles Notes version of this. It's all laid out, but I'd be happy to answer any specific questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I'm going to start to my left because I think there'll be a number of questions. If there's any here to the left, and I'll work to the right. Any questions? Member McLean?
Just quickly, when we're talking about the reports that come back from staff and the OPP, as we saw in the earlier discussion, when they're talking about collisions, that was very brief, 2 collisions in 5 years. There's no mention of the nature of the collision. I understand you don't give any identifiers, but the nature of the collision is important to these discussions. Someone backing out of their driveway and hitting a parked car across the road really has no relevance to whether we're putting a speed bump in or not. So just a brief note to the nature of the collision, either from the OPP or from staff, whoever's preparing the report, would be helpful, I feel. Thanks.
Mr. Jackson, is that possible?
Yeah, I believe so. I think engineering authors these reports, so when it comes to our request to the OPP for data, we just have to ask specific. Up until this point, I wasn't aware that we needed to be more specific about the types of crashes on the street. But I'm very happy to work with the OPP to collect that data and incorporate that into the reports.
Thank you. I'm going to go this way. Mayor Harrison, anything?
Well, I just want to thank staff for the, their cooperation and trying to include all aspects in the report. I thank you very much. And our OPP can only do so much. They talk about, we talked about Murray Harrington Road. I mean, if that's maybe it is a priority for people, maybe it's one we should look at, but I'm not so sure. Our officers can only handle so much, and that's reality.
Member Warren?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I do want to talk about this this policy incorporating the two together. First of all, I think this policy was reviewed a couple of years ago by this committee. I wasn't a member of it, but I think it was changed to 80% instead of 85, if I remember, unless that wasn't adopted by council. But I also want to.
Does anyone remember what we changed it to, or if we did? Greg?
I remember the discussion. I can't honestly remember if it was passed, but it was suggested at 80%. I remember that.
It was
Correct.
passed by the committee. I don't know if council adopted it, but maybe staff can just take a look at that. Yeah, I just want to take a look at the speed limit review policy. Again, I'm hearing this through a safety lens. So traffic calming isn't necessarily specifically about safety. Like I said, the implementation policy that we're supposed to follow actually says don't use that word. So traffic calming requests are often coming with that language because that's what the public is giving us and that's kind of what we know. But putting this into the speed limit policy, which is highly focused on speed and safety, is not necessarily the way that we should go. I understand that we're getting like a ton of requests through a lot of different channels, through staff coming to this committee, probably coming to councilors, the mayor, phone calls. It's a fire hose of information. And it seems like it makes sense to channel that, to have that go through a process. My fear is that putting it through this process turns off the tap of information that we're getting. Right now, we're getting a ton of data on all of the streets, and that data isn't like collected by machine. It's collected, it's given to us by people. It's still data. It's their feelings and how they feel on that street, and comfort and wanting to use the street in a way besides driving is important. And also, I have to question the effectiveness of the speed limit review policy, because if we look at the last 6 petitions that came to this committee, all 6 of them, and since processes that started back in 2018, have all been rejected. So I would ask, how do the people who went through that process to create the petitions, who made those requests, talked to all their neighbors, came together as a community to make a request, how effective they feel that policy is when every single one of them has been rejected? I think we have different avenues that we can use, including hearing people coming to us and giving these requests, and putting it to staff and making these recommendations ourselves. As far as the budget goes, I think that can be a different discussion. We can, because so many of these traffic calming measures are redeployable, reusable, there can be certainly a recommendation by this committee or by council to have like a budget that specifically builds up that knowledge and those tools that we can reuse. So deploying of delineators, if they don't work somewhere else, they can be redeployed somewhere else, and they can be deployed in construction zones, they can be deployed in like events, and they can be deployed in neighborhoods when they're requested. So I won't be supporting the rolling together of these 2 policies. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Reid? You're good? Councillor Stedall?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have 2 points, actually. First of all, there is a discussion about the financial impact, which I raised earlier, and it says that future implementation will have budgetary impacts. I'm wondering if the consideration is that anything that happens, say, in 2026 would then be in the 2027 budget year if approved? Is that the plan, so that we make sure it's pre-approved? That's one question.
Mr. Tracy or
Yep.
Mr. Jackson, please.
Through Chair, in terms of budget, Mr. Jackson and we've been talking about that. I think through the 2027 budget process. I think from the traffic calming measures, and the other question we get brought a lot is the speed signs.
Yeah.
So we have approximately 20 of those out deployed now, and requests continue to come in. So I think from an operational budget, I think we'd like to look at bringing that forward as a budget item that can be utilized within the year. And then on the bigger question we get asked regularly is the crosswalks, which again, there's a request here tonight. Crosswalks are much more expensive, larger implementations, so I think they'd be dealt with more so on a capital budget item and approval process.
Like that approach.
Okay,
ahead,
so-
Councillor
thank you.
Settle.
So it's just like the pre-planning that I'm really concerned about, instead of getting the one-offs in the middle of a budget year, is that it's planned for the next year. That was my concern. And I like that the crosswalks are considered as well, because they are expensive. My other question is in regards to new developments that are coming in. So this policy covers what is already in place, but as we have new developments that come forward, what I've seen is that that's actually a consideration of the new subdivisions, et cetera, is whether or not there are traffic calming measures. Will that be incorporated into our future subdivisions that come forward?
Mr. Jackson?
Through you, Madam Chair. So it's difficult to estimate where the needs for traffic calming are going to be in like at a desktop level. Oftentimes it comes down to the folks who are driving that street. It can change over decades as the demographics of the folks driving the street. Different folks come in, they drive faster, that spikes complaints. So it's difficult to estimate in the planning process where and when. There are some traffic calming measures that we're going to be putting forward in the revised engineering standards, which is another report. But at a desktop level, it's kind of difficult. So we would be observing the street and then based on complaints, putting them in at that time.
Comment back on that is that I have seen a number of new subdivisions in other communities that they are incorporated with the original plan. And I don't know if there's some specifics that we could take a look at just to do some background research, because, you know, if the road is as long as, say, Montrose, you might, like, that might be a consideration. If it's a shorter road, then maybe there is no need. So it could be, you know, a decision based on the length of the roadway, but I'm not an engineer I'm just asking the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Armstrong.
My question is about the 85% of the residents that are impacted on the portion of the street. So let's use Tripp Boulevard as an example. So are you saying that the people who just live on Tripp Boulevard are the ones that would be petitioned? In using that as an example.
Yeah, so following the current process, it's 85% of the folks who live on that street.
Okay, can I stop you there then?
Yep.
Because in that situation, you have a playground that is used by the neighborhood. You have all those feeder streets that are impacted. So how would you define, in that situation, 85%? Because those folks don't live on Tripp Boulevard, but in my mind are impacted.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Would you say designate this is the zone that has to be petitioned? Every situation's a snowflake in the sense.
I understand.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. I think it's like a balance. Like, there's no perfect way of doing this.
No.
The problem is that if we're asking a resident to go out and petition and we create like a 500-meter zone with like 400 homes,
Well,
then like, is that the inference, is that we want the residents to go out and canvass 500 homes, or is it just the
Because
ones on the street?
you're getting the input from everybody that's affected, even though there's 500 or 20, okay? Because when, you know, I hear one person complaining about Tripp Boulevard, and I hear 100 people saying, hey, it's great, but the one person wins out. Where's the democracy there?
I'll go
If that's
to-
an example, that could happen.
Do you have any other questions, Councillor Armstrong? I'll go to Member McKellen.
I understand exactly what Mr. Armstrong is saying, but I believe the next stage of the process is where they advertise for public input. Anyone that is impacted, whether you live close by or whether you're a regular commuter through that street, to then have their say to the city staff, and that is also compiled and involved in the process as it moves forward. Staff could correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah, that's correct. So we have seen from previous, and you're welcome to go back in the public input where a petition of the folks on the street has been emphatic that there's been request for a speed limit reduction, but then when it goes to public input, it's very common to see like 80% opposed to it and 20% for it. So that is captured in the public input.
Mayor Harrison and then Councilor
Okay,
Quinte.
well, I understand what you're saying, and I think we're very inclusive in the process. We try to use our people who are out there to give us the data that we need to make an informed decision. And over the years that I've been around, I really appreciate the work that you've done to get that information. And our OPP are out there on a regular basis trying to do the best they can. And I make reference to the Murray-Harrington Road. And we need to look at the data on that road and figure out how many actually use that road and what are the concerns and how are we going to deal with it. As I said before, officers can only do so much, and a lot of the driving habits are dependent on the people behind the wheel. That's where, from my point of view, a lot of the issues come, and we need to slow down and take a look at the safety that or the hazard that we're creating. Thank you.
Councilor Quinte?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, I agree with Member McClellan that there is a process. So once the speed or traffic calming measure is triggered, then we do gather data from the users of the road, whether they live on that street or they're just using that road. I did also want to mention about a point that Mr. Warren brought up, Member Warren brought up, in that yes, when people came forward with their concerns about speed limits and the speed limits weren't reduced, that doesn't mean we didn't do anything. I believe on the Frankfurt-Sterling Road, we had the widened shoulders when the road was resurfaced. Director Tracy brought up about adding speed control cameras. They've been going up quite a number every year, and I'm going to imagine that we're going to keep on doing that because they do work. So there are other measures that have taken place to assist with the traffic issues, but you are correct, we did not reduce any of the speeds. And then my last point that I wanted to bring up, so currently we have Montrose Road and Leicester Road where we're using temporary traffic calming measures. Are they going to be just grandfathered in after this passes, or are we going to have to go back to the citizens and redo the procedure? Because I don't think one was ever done for Montrose Road for the traffic calming, but I do remember there was a number of residents from Leicester Road came and asked for stop signs and a speed hump. But I know we had members come and speak on behalf of Montrose Road, and I know I've been prancing up and down here for a decade or more about it, and my fellow council members were having to listen to me the whole time, and they joined in, and we got the speed humps. But I just want to make sure that they don't get removed because there was never any survey done on Montrose Road.
Mr. Jackson?
My recommendation would be to grandfather those roads in, both of those roads, and really those were the genesis of the traffic calming policy. So multiple reports were brought to this committee justifying their implementation. There was extensive speed data. There was a report that we brought last year that showed a 90% reduction in speeding on Montrose specifically. So I think that would be fine.
Just one more point.
Councilor Quinte.
So thanks. You're right. The speeding definitely has been controlled. Just a quick point. So before the speed humps were installed this year, I got a phone call from somebody who wasn't very happy about an incident that had just happened in front of their house, I guess. And I reached out to the OPP and Christy McNaughton was away on a conference, but she did get my email. And Public Works staff was very helpful as well. And the very next day, we had OPP patrolling, and they stayed around for about a week or so, maybe longer, to assist until the speed humps got installed. And I just wanted to say thank you.
I'm going to go to Councilor Katsoulis, and then we'll call for the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just some of the comments that were made, I just encourage that we stick to the policy because staff need a consistent template. Otherwise, if we have something different, the decisions of both staff and the committee members get challenged more easily. They could argue that we're playing favoritism. So in the example of the, Trip Boulevard, my recommendation to the adjacent streets or anyone that's active in that community would be to come to public input similar to some members that came tonight, or to write emails if they can't make it to City Hall. So the more emails will encourage either a motion to be passed or rejected.
Thank you. Member Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Just to comment on some of the other comments that were made. Yes, absolutely. Some of the work that was done after those speed limit reviews were completed, there were definitely some traffic calming features that were added, and that's appreciated. But this policy isn't specifically about using traffic calming measures. That's always been an option with the existing policy. This is about channeling all of the traffic calming requests into that policy, as opposed to how it is now, where people can write a letter, make a call, and then we can discuss it. I think I've said this probably like 4 or 5 times now, but I'll say it again, that the great thing about the traffic calming measures that we have in our toolbox now is that they are easily, rapidly deployed. What's the next fastest, cheapest thing that we can do for people when they come with a request that improves their neighborhood? And putting this through a process that extends that and requires a petition is just going to turn people off the process, especially when the existing policy has rejected 6 in a row. So channeling more through that policy, as far as the public, as far as the response that it generates, is people are coming for their specific neighborhood with their specific request, and then it goes to the broader public. And I think it does mention in the policy that this is an emotional topic. So that brings in people that may not even use this road. They may not care about this road, but they don't like speed limit reductions, and they will comment on that and they will provide their input. They may never drive on this road. They don't care about that particular road or the people who live on it. Sorry. They are just opposed to speed limit reductions. And there are people that are going to be opposed to speed humps, speed bumps, anything like that, and they're going to provide their input like they do now. That's part of the public input that we receive for this, and that is public input that is included in the decision that has led to all of those being rejected. So I don't think that putting more through that policy is the right pathway. I don't think that we necessarily eliminate the speed limit review policy. I do think it needs to be modified to actually approve some of them. And I definitely think that we have done work to add to our toolbox as far as there are other things we can do besides the speed limit, traffic calming measures. I just don't think pushing everything through that is going to be effective at increasing public engagement and making it a positive experience for people.
Okay, we have a motion.
Can I
All
just
those in favor?
ask a question first on the
sorry.
motion? On the motion, I'm
okay.
wondering
Councilor Spittle.
if we can make a friendly amendment and add right now into grandfather in Lester Road and Montrose. If we're going to pass the policy, if we could just do an amendment to the resolution to include those so that they are grandfathered in now that we're passing the policy. It makes sense what Councillor Quinte was saying. Is that we do it at this time when we are changing the policy. Otherwise, it may look as, or is there a plan that another report would come forward?
So,
If there's no plan for another report,
no.
then just recommend
I know,
that.
I just thought that was a friendly staff direction, the grandfathering, but if you want it as a motion, we could do it that
I'd
way.
like it included in the motion is that they be grandfathered in.
So we'd have to have an amendment to this motion, so if you want to got to do this right. The amendment to the motion, you move that we add that particular point.
Grandfather in Montrose and Leicester Road, which already have the traffic calming measures, that those traffic calming measures are incorporated.
So
at this
is there a seconder for the amendment to the motion before I call for the original motion? Seconded by Councillor Quinte. All those in favor of the amendment?
Can we
Yes.
discuss the amendment?
Oh, yes, certainly.
I don't know that this is necessary. Like I said, the benefit of these traffic calming measures is that they can be redeployed if we decide that they're not working or change it. So I feel like that amendment sort of changes that. So we lose that ability to redeploy. Making traffic calming measures permanent, we can use other measures besides, like we can do other things with that road besides using all of those temporary measures that we have. So I don't support the amendment.
Okay. Is there any other comments related to the amended motion? All in favor of the amended motion?
Sorry, Chair, I think we have to vote on the amendment first.
Yes, sorry, that's what I'm trying to,
To
on the amendment.
make the change to the.
Yes. So we have one, just for the amendment.
Sorry, I was asking for a friendly amendment, which I believe, asking the clerk, is that it just amends the entire motion, adding in that one particular clause. So the actual motion will read that active transportation receive the staff report, adopt the revised policy, and that Montrose and Leicester Road be grandfathered into the new policy.
Through you, Ms. Chair, it is that the committee adopt the revised policy as attached, and further that Montrose Road and Leicester Road traffic calming measures are grandfathered.
Okay, so then we're not voting on an amended motion, we're going to go with this friendly.
So we have to have the original movers accept it.
Through you, Madam Chair, the original was Councillor Stedall.
Just a question.
Okay, so you're both,
You were the mover. Seconder was Councillor Reid.
Before we vote,
Yes.
can you make it clear to us that what this amendment does not compromise our ability as council to use those traffic safety calming measures in other locations?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure.
No, I prefer only accepting this. I don't, because I'm just concerned that the grandfathering of the traffic humps, speed bumps may be needed elsewhere. And if it's grandfathered in, then how does that work if we need them somewhere else? And, oh, no, they've already been grandfathered in for Montrose and Leicester Road, so I won't.
I'm wondering, Councillor Stedall, if we could go with the original motion and then do a supplementary motion on the particular grandfathering of the two.
Sure,
You know, so we
that's
could
fine.
stick with the
If-
policy
yeah,
and
I
then
think the
deal with the
policy is important. The only thing I think needs clarification is that grandfathering in the two areas that already have the speed humps does not mean that they can't go in the other areas. That it just means that what's there will be there, and we won't have to go back through the whole petition process again. It doesn't mean that we would start from square one for that particular area, and it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be another area that couldn't, come in with the petition and ask for something. We can still go forward with other ones. So it's not excluding anything going forward. It's just, my concern is the same as Councillor Kunze's, is that these two areas that already have, got those traffic calming measures, that it would be revoked.
Okay, so are you agreeable to the original motion and then doing a supplementary motion so you can achieve both?
Yes.
It's just cleaner with the policy,
Yes.
okay? Thank you. So we have.
Can I ask for a recorded vote, please?
Sure. So the original motion on the floor is that the traffic calming policy update be received and that the committee adopt the revised policy as attached. Is that correct, Sarah?
That's correct.
So we have a mover right now of Councillor Stedall for that motion and Councillor Reid. Now, we have a request for recorded vote. If you could take us through that, Sarah, please.
Counselor Armstrong.
Yes.
Counselor Boyce, not here. Counselor Katsovas.
Yes.
Counselor Quinte.
Yes.
Counselor Reid.
Yes.
Counselor Sharp.
Yes.
Counselor Steddle.
Yes.
Public Member Allen.
No.
No. Public Member McClellan.
Yes.
Public Member Warham.
No.
Mayor Harrison.
Yes.
So that was approved. And now I'll look to Counselor Steddall and Counselor Quinte, I believe, want to do a secondary motion relative to those two particular speed bumps or humps.
Correct, that Montrose Road and Leicester Road traffic calming measures be grandfathered into the policy that was just adopted.
So we have a mover and a seconder is Counselor Quinte. Questions or comments regarding this particular motion? Mayor Harrison?
Yeah, just back again to our OPP. Should we give them time to look at this and make sure there are no issues that have developed since we already put it in place in the other two areas? So that's all.
Mr. Jackson, would you like to comment?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think to second Director Tracy's comments about those two roads have already been traffic calmed, and we have the suitable traffic calming mechanisms so that they're adequately calmed now. With future requests, those would have to be examined to see where they can fit in the operations budget or within a capital budget. So those are different monetary items, if that makes it more clear.
Any further questions or comments, or I'll call the vote?
I just want.
Oh, yes, Counselor Quinte?
I know I said this before, but I'm almost certain that Montrose Road did not have a survey of the people that live on the street. I'm pretty sure we did it with Leicester Road, and this is why I brought it up, that I just want to make sure that all of a sudden they don't disappear because somebody said, oh, we never did a survey of the people that live on the street. That is the reason why I'm going to be supporting the amendment.
Right, and Director Tracy, yes, understood.
Through you, Chair. Yeah, I understand that there hasn't been a formal survey, but the fact that this has been a trial for a couple of years now, we've taken plenty of public feedback for and against through the process. I feel we've modified the traffic calming measures there to adjust to mitigate some of those concerns. So I feel comfortable that we would continue as they've been laid out.
Thank you. Mr. Tracy, all in favor of this recommendation? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's carried. All right, thank you. So now move to petition for speed limit review of Murray Harrington Road. It is recommended that the committee receive the petition regarding a speed limit review on Murray Harrington Road as presented. May I have a mover for this recommendation? Moved by Member Warham. Seconder?
I'm going to second it.
Seconded by Counselor Quinte. Questions or comments regarding this recommendation? All in favor? Oh,
No,
sorry,
my
Mr. Mayor?
comment would be
Sorry.
that we pass it on and we get more information. We ask staff because, how many even know where it is? You been on it?
I have.
How many houses on it?
On the whole road? There's not that many houses on it,
That's
but
right.
I know the section that they're speaking of.
Okay, but
is
he's,
the eastern portion of the road that's the most dangerous part.
well, how would you determine that?
It's
not an
narrow,
engineer?
it's got curves on it, and it's got that hill that blocks vision. Because it's a fairly steep, there's even a steep incline sign on that road.
I'm going to go, if I could, to Mr. Director Tracy, who's going to comment on this, and then I'll come back to other members. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, yeah, no, this petition meets the deadline and it starts the formal process. So now we will consult with OPP and do the engineering studies and so on and report back.
This is just the start of our process as per our policy. Any further comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. All right. Number E, from Mr. Turner, Manager of Outdoor Operations regarding Till Road, no heavy truck traffic
Chair.
designate.
Well, there's another one for
Oh.
Zion Road, sorry.
So many roads, so little time. Okay, Zion Road. Petition for a speed limit review of Zion Road between Corrigan Road and Pitchers Road. And the recommendation staff report is that the committee receive the petition regarding a speed limit review on Zion Road between Corrigan Road and Pitchers Road as presented. Very similar, phase one of our process. May I have a mover for this recommendation, please? Member Allen. Seconded? Anybody? Member Warren. Questions or comments? All in favor? And carried. Very good.
Was it?
Oh, all in favor? I apologize. I should have said
Okay.
anyone against. I can see better.
Thanks.
Okay, there you go. So that was carried. Our next report this one is from Jim Turner, Manager of Outdoor Operations regarding Teal Road, no heavy truck traffic designation. That the Active Transportation and Traffic Safety Committee received staff report 26006 PWES Teal Road, no heavy truck traffic designation for information. And the committee recommended council that Teal Road become a designated no heavy truck route. And further recommend that bylaw 0411 be amended to include Teal Road in Schedule 1. May I have a mover for the report? Moved by Councilor Reed, seconded by Mayor Harrison. Questions or comments? Member Warren.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely merit to this. I do think it potentially becomes an enforcement issue because that road is a significant shortcut to avoid going through Wooler. I think, yeah, it probably would save at least a few minutes. So yeah, it will probably become an enforcement issue. I do generally support it just because of the nature of the road. I do think it's kind of neat that we have corduroy roads. I know this is kind of an aside, but we still have those. I love the history of that. Sorry.
Any other questions or comments? Member McClellan.
I do use this road a lot. I spend a lot of time on different farms in the bush. I do use it as a shortcut, exactly as Mr. Warren suggested. And I can see no reason for heavy trucks to be on it, nor when you're looking at the road, does it really look like it's built to support heavy trucks. So I agree with Mr. Turner.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with, with what's been said. It's a road with 7 bridges, I think, about last time I counted them. And yes, and the bridges are existing. A few years ago, we had a young man killed on that road, you remember? Yeah, so yes, whatever safety measures we can do are much appreciated, but I know by the family involved as well as others. Thank you.
All in favor? And carried. Report from Mr. Jackson regarding engineering standards update transportation. It is recommended that the report update transportation be received for information. Thank you for the report. May I have a mover for the report? Moved by Councillor Stedall, seconded by Councillor Katsovitz. Questions or comments? All in favor? And carried. All right, and now we'll move to notice of motion from Public Member Warham, options for improved pedestrian crossings on Dundas Street East, Dundas Street West, and Dufferin Avenue, Trenton. And it is recommended in the resolution, whereas the distance between marked safe pedestrian crossings on both Dundas Street East and Dundas Street West currently exceed 700 meters, which surpasses recommended best practices for pedestrian safety, accessibility, and convenience. And whereas Hannah Park in the west and Centennial Park in the east are preeminent municipal parks and the focus of significant recreational activities and future capital improvements, including new sports courts and active trails like the newly established connection between Centennial and Bain Parks. And whereas facilitating multiple options for direct, safe pedestrian access to these major parklands will encourage active living, promote active transportation, and significantly alleviate the stress on available parking infrastructure during major community events. And whereas strategically placed crossings along these corridors will greatly enhance active access between residential neighborhoods and commercial areas, while also providing safer, more direct routes for students traveling to local schools. Therefore, be it resolved that the Active Transportation Traffic Safety Advisory Committee recommends that City Council direct municipal staff to prepare a report outlining options for the implementation of improved pedestrian crossovers or crosswalks at or near the following locations: on Dundas Street West, situated between the existing traffic-controlled intersections of 4th Avenue and Dufferin Avenue, and at the intersection of Dufferin Avenue and Cresswell Avenue to improve active connections to Henna Park, and on Dundas Street East, situated between the existing traffic-controlled intersections of Byron Street and Flindell Street to improve active connections to Centennial Park. And further, that the staff report include design options for these locations that prioritize direct pedestrian access, pedestrian safety, and improved connectivity to Quinte West recreational, commercial, and educational facilities. And I will go to Member Warren to speak to this and put it on the floor.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for reading my lengthy notice of motion. Yeah, so this was really prompted by a couple of things. We've received some correspondence, even a couple of years ago, about connection to Hanna Park and specifically Dufferin Avenue. And then this is also sort of prompted by the recreational master plan, which have identified Hanna Park and Centennial Park for improvements beyond what they already are. So part of that is improving active transportation, getting people active. There's going to be new sports facilities. Also, Bain Park will connect to Centennial Park with a new trail. So this is just about enhancing the ability of people to get there in a way other than vehicles. So Dundas Street functions sort of as a barrier to that in some places. So to the north of Centennial Park, you have a long stretch of Dundas Street, four-lane street road that makes it difficult. It is an impediment for people to cross. So they're either crossing in a place where there isn't a safe crossing, or they're directed to take a long way out of the way, which people don't do. Same thing over on Dundas. So this doesn't specifically tell staff that they have to do this. This is about providing some options to improve the pedestrian access to these parks, which will have spin-off effects for other things, including improving accessibility, students walking to school, etc. So that's really what this is about. I did have a couple of people express interest in seconding this, so yeah, if you want to get a seconder, and then we can discuss it more if you want to.
You're putting it on the floor, and the seconder, please. Seconded by Member Allen. Questions or comments to the motion on the floor? Councillor Quinte.
Yeah, I heard you read the motion. I don't have it to read, so I just wanted to make sure, did that include Dufferin Street as well? I heard Dundas East and Dundas West. I just wanted to make sure I heard Dufferin Street as well.
So if I can sort of just jump in there, and actually thank Mr. Quinte because he referred a letter to this committee that specifically referenced Dufferin. So yes, so there would be looking at a crossing at Dufferin as well, across Dufferin, that would provide better access, specifically for Hanna Park, but also it would improve access to the school, which I think was part of that letter that was delivered to council that you referred to this committee. Sorry, I should be speaking to you through you,
I just
Chair.
wanted to make sure, because I was trying to listen for it, and maybe you said it, and I just didn't hear it, but I just wanted to make sure that was on there. Thanks. So I'll second the notice of motion.
We have a seconder. Thank you,
Even
Councillor
better.
Quinte. Yes, Member Allen. Councillor Katsovas.
Thank you. As far as the first one, I've traveled this road frequently, almost every day. I have yet to see a pedestrian run across Dundas West. Typically, they're crossing at Fourth Avenue and walking on the one side all the way to Dufferin, or vice versa. I'm concerned, and staff can correct me, or the OPP, just the slope of that street alone, I'm not sure it's safe to put another traffic light because of visibility. Sometimes if you're traveling at a higher speed, and they've taken some safety precautions at Dufferin, in fact, at the lights, they delay the green light because it was a high collision area. So they've delayed the advanced screen, they've taken other measures. Implementing another light there could be problematic.
And if I could, to Councillor Katsovs's question, if you would like to speak to our OPP representative, but it could be covered in the staff report as follow-up, because that is the request. So did you want to add anything this time or add to the staff report?
Yeah, I can probably comment on that a little bit. I recall years ago, we did look at some measures exactly where you're speaking of, and that was the recommendation. I believe you might have to go back and look at the records. Concerns of putting something specifically in that area may cause a ripple effect. It would have to likely go to some engineering to determine whether or not we could actually put something in there as far as a crosswalk, so.
Oh, yes, Councillor.
The one on Dufferin and Cresswell makes sense because it's near a school and maybe a visibility issue as per the letter. The last one, again, I travel that on Highway 2 quite often again, and it seems there's enough traffic lights as it is. If you were to add another one, it's just slowing up traffic. And I know that's not always a bad thing, but in this case it would be. You have them on Byron, you have them, like I know he said Flindle, but then you have two more at the base or three more before you even get to RCF Road. So I'm not in favor of either of those two adding traffic lights.
Did you want to speak, Member McClellan? I thought I saw your hand.
Yes, I agree with everything Mr. Warren said in his motion and his supporting of it. I also agree with Councillor Kotsovos that coming down that hill, I know I don't want to sort of direct staff, but staff would have to look at all the safety issues involved with the speeds, the volume of traffic, all of that, because I personally believe from my experience that would require a very robust structure, a very not your average crosswalk. It would have to be the whole formal crosswalk type thing with the lights and the laws that come in with it. Because like a voluntary crosswalk in any of these areas, I think, would be a recipe for disaster. I do see people crossing Dundas East. I agree with Mr. Kotsovos. I don't see them crossing Dundas West because it is not safe between those two lights with the speeds of the vehicles coming down the hill. I definitely support the motion. It should go to staff to do a good report on this, and I think considering all the dangers involved around this, it would require some real study and some robust recommendations. But I do support the motion.
And thank you for that, because the staff, the next meeting will be months from now, and this will allow sufficient time for that, hopefully robust review. And so, you know, the motion, because it includes staff report, whether it occurs, that'll come back. So, Member Warren.
Yeah, so just one more comment. There's a metaphor that I like to use. 200 years ago, we built bridges across the Trent River, but we didn't wait to see how many people swam across before we built them. We saw that there was a need for it. Yes, if you simply go use warrants to determine how many people, to determine whether there's a need for a crosswalk, no, you probably won't see many people use that, go running across there, because it is 4 lanes of high-speed vehicle traffic. It would not be safe, so people don't do it. But if there is a safe crossing, it will definitely allow people to do so. Dundas Street East, I think it's almost 800 meters. That's nearly a kilometer where there's no crossing. That's a significant barrier for people. And again, like you said, this really does give staff the flexibility. If you look at Dundas Street West, there are definitely some flat zones. It's not going to be perfect. Will it line up perfectly with Hannah Park? Maybe not. Will it be maybe too close to existing stoplights? Maybe. But if we're looking at this as like, this is an accessibility thing that we should really provide, we maybe find a way to make it happen. If we don't, we don't. But this is really just giving staff the flexibility to give us some guidance.
Okay, so all those in favor? Carry. Very good. Before I do closing remarks, I'm going to ask, is there any new business from any member? Any new business? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I don't have any other business, but I want to take the moment to thank Director Tracy for the good work done on the Highway 33 from 401 to Frankfurt. That's fantastic. Any idea did it come in under budget or close to budget, or?
I'll pass it over to Robert Jackson.
Thank you, Your Worship. So engineering staff completed microsurfacing, which is a minor lift of asphaltic type material to preserve the road structure on that road. And we were able to do more than what we had anticipated, and we're projecting we're about 150,000 under budget.
Fantastic, and I'll tell you, I've had more comments on that road than any other road we've done over the years I've been here, so you've certainly exceeded the expectations. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I just, I did want to comment that this is the last meeting of this particular committee until the new council comes in, and then they will appoint new members to whatever committees. So I wanted to thank all the committee members and for the opportunity to work with all of you over the past 4 years, and all of the staff that I've had the pleasure of working with on this committee. Sorry, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry to interrupt here. Just two items, I guess, for new business, some updates. We did receive, Public Works did receive a request to put in the flashing speed, the radar speed signs on Will Johnson Road in Stockdale next to the school there. So Public Works reviewed the operations budget, and we placed an order for 2 of those signs. In addition, Mr. Warren brought up to me, it is Frankfurt Sterling Road. Back in 2023, the committee asked for the same signs to happen on Frankfurt Sterling Road in proximity to that trailer park there. Those are also ordered to be installed. So just as an update.
Just on new business, I don't know if this is the right stage, but I noticed these enclosed scooters that look like a little car becoming more frequent and being used in the live lanes as if it were an actual car. And I'm not aware of where the rules stand exactly on this right now, or what the options are for these people. Is it appropriate for them to be on the sidewalk, which I believe is where the law was when I was enforcing the law? But I'd like some sort of information back to the committee on these, because I'm seeing people behind them, right up to them.
Okay.
Occasionally honking horns or zipping out around them. And these vehicles have zero protection if they're in a collision. They will crumple, and that person will be seriously hurt.
I will just look, is that a quick answer, or are we looking for a full report?
Yeah, it certainly depends on what specifically the vehicle is, whether it's considered, and there's a large variety now of what's out there, whether it's an e-bike, one of the low-speed motorcycles, or something that's considered a mobility scooter. Once we get into mobility side of the house versus an e-bike, even though it's something that's still powered by electricity, those devices are up on the sidewalk, not necessarily on the road, and have some exemptions. So, and they vary, and they can be difficult to even identify sometimes of what is what until you're actually at the side of the road dealing with the individual inspecting the device. So I know that's a bit of a not a straight answer, but it's the best answer I can give. And we are currently, there's a number of provisions provincially regarding the legislations and reviews on not necessarily mobility scooters, but the utilization of e-bikes on municipal roads.
So something for the new committee or whatever the new council chooses to have in place for committees to look at going forward, because it's only going to get worse, more involved.
Yeah, certainly.
Councillor Quinte.
Just to add to that, just as sorry, I don't know your name, Mr. Officer.
It's Matt Raycroft. I'm the interim ops manager.
Officer Raycroft. The province of Ontario is looking at implementing rules for these devices because, and I don't have the exact parameters, so some of these units, I guess like if it's like a scooter where you're standing on it and it doesn't go more than 32 kilometers an hour, you're considered a pedestrian. And then there are some units where if you're traveling over 32 kilometers an hour and your unit has 2 or 3 wheels, then you have to be licensed and get insurance. Now, other municipalities will have specific bylaws. I believe Peterborough is one of them that has bylaws that deal with these sorts of things. So Quinte West doesn't have such a bylaw. But if I understand, if the province is working on introducing legislation for these things, we should probably find out, I guess, from MPP Alsop where they are with their rules and regulations and wait for the province, because anything we do is going to be just crushed by whatever the province says is going to be the way forward. So I hear what you're saying, but our staff are already pressured with all sorts of reports, and I don't want them to spend time on a report when, we're not going to be having another meeting till perhaps maybe next spring if we're lucky. And who knows where the province might come in that period of time with some regulations that would be far more clear. There are some regulations now, and you're right, Mr. McClellan, that you see those little buggies, I call them, that's what I call them, and there'd be zero protection. I even saw one recently where the person, instead of having the hard top cover over it, they had some sort of a tent or some kind of a tent thing over it. Now, it wasn't here in Quinte West, it was in another community, but I thought, oh my lordy, what is wrong with people? Like, the visibility was significantly reduced for that person to see even what was going on around them, but what do I know? All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Councillor Armstrong?
What about cyclists who are not using the bike lanes but are on the road? Is there anything like King Street, using that as an example? There's a nice bike path, the road by the base, there's a bike path, but they're on the road. And they have no way, they're considered what?
Pedestrians.
They're pedestrian.
Yeah.
That's something that, just, they have no way to get they slow traffic down, for sure. I'd also like to thank Director Tracy for his action the other day, resolving the crosswalk situation during the festival on the Bay. It was reported there was something wrong, and he fixed it within minutes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything, Councillor Stedall, new business? Member Morum? Oh, sorry, Councillor Reid, missed you?
That's okay. No,
Nothing? Okay. And then we'll, yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out something. I know that many of the councillors and staff are actively involved with Good Roads, and the Good Roads program has a fairly robust road safety program, certification, and I happen to notice that Quinte West staff are not only great users and supporters of that, but I think more than any other municipality, there are staff in Quinte West that are certified in that program. So I just wanted to praise them for that, and I'm looking forward to how that affects safety in Quinte West going forward.
Thank you.
Just to note that C.O. Angelo is a director on the Ontario Good Roads.
Okay, I am looking at the agenda. Thanks, everyone, once again. everyone for coming. And we will have like a motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:30, almost on the dot. Moved by Councilor Katsovas, seconded by Member Allen. All in favor, and all the best in the summer.
Thank you.
All the best.